veterans, which I did for a couple of years to do the veterans rafting study, and Stacy Bear, being my collaborator, was a veteran. There's a lot of that kind of initial, immediate encounter in combat, where you're, literally, stories of bullets flying and people getting blown to pieces, and you're like, this is way beyond my usual perception of reality. And awe is beginning, right? The vast, beyond knowledge structures. And then you start to make sense of what is happening in front of you, right? Wow, that was a child that was just killed, or et cetera. Or that was a boat that was blown up around Venezuela. And then your more complicated interpretation is layered into it, and you feel horror, right? And that's the complexity of the space that we're trying to understand. I'm not sure we'll ever really get the data that speak to that. I don't know what you think. But it's part of, you can see, I remember seeing images of the Rwandan genocide, 800,000, 600,000 people chopped up, and when you first see them, your skulls or whatever it is, you're like, I've never seen anything like that. It's, oh, and then you start to remember the history and the horror. So awe, in those kind of contexts, is a very close companion to horror, and how we interpret it leads to one or the other. What would you say?
No,
this
that
is kind
was
of in your
beautifully
world.
put. I think, this is the kind of thing that I study too. And it's hard, right? Because we want to understand these individual differences, but there are just so many sources of individual differences. I mean, we're a culmination of all the experiences we've had, the genetics, the brain wiring, the heart wiring, there's so many things that go into making us who we are, and that directly then shapes how we process the world, how we experience the world. And so, I think when you see somebody that has a very different reaction from you, at least for me, the first thing I think is, there's got to be a reason they have that reaction, right? People are so different from one another, and I'm me and you're not. And so, just trying to, I guess, lead with a little bit of grace, I guess, and trying to accept that, people are going to see it differently.
And it's a terrific question or observation. I learned this very vividly. I was working with veterans, Sierra Club, still do this work, get people outdoors, and a lot of people of color feel unsafe outdoors. When you think of the history of lynching, which is only 90 years ago, 80 years ago, right? And that, the very same scene suddenly feels like, am I safe here, right? I remember hearing stories of people being killed in the woods, etc. So, like Maitel said, it's in awe, we have to be humble and remember, the cultural background you come from, who you are individually really matters.